wonderful thing. I don't think we should have to pay taxes. Can I speak to somebody about that?
I think that is an amazing idea. But one thing I was wondering as I was watching this video is, Mark, I didn't see I didn't see your. Are you holding out on us? What's going on? What are you doing?
No, I'm just getting my feet wet in the shallow end before going into the deep end. I don't even have a title for our show yet. In fact, if you want to tweet me at Hamill himself, my daughter informs me, you can suggest a name for me. Now, I've only done a few podcasts. I did one for my buddy Tom Wilson, who was Biff from Back to the Future, and I worked with him on Wing Commander. Then I worked with Rob Paulson, who I've worked with for 20 years in animation. You all know Rob Paulson from Pinky and the Brain, and God knows how many other, he's one of the most prolific voiceover actors in town. And I just did one with Kevin Smith, where we talked for 3 hours and 18 minutes. He had to make it a two-parter, because it was all about my experiences as the Joker. It's 92, I first started doing Joker, so this is, even though there's a long gap when they did The Batman with my buddy Kevin Michael Richardson, and then Brave and the Bold with Jeff Bennett, they came back to me for Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. So you played those games, have you?
Yeah.
You know, like I say, I mean, without giving away too much, it looks like after Arkham City, that might be my swan song. Although I suggested to go out on a high note. Remember how George Costanza always wanted to go out on a high note? You know, do one thing really well and then leave when people still are not sick of you. I wanted to do the Killing Joke. Whether or not we can arrange this, you know, Alan Moore is notoriously unhappy with adaptations of his work, but I thought if we do it word for word, right, you know, like almost like a book on tape, how could he complain? Now I have to get, well,
yeah, you'll find it.
I have to also, you know, I mean, this is just a suggestion, that's why I'm enlisting fans like you to further the idea along, because, you know, we have to bring DC and Time Warner around to the idea of either doing it as a CD, book on tape, or as a full-on direct-to-video animated feature, which they're doing so well with now.
Yeah.
I think John DiMaggio did a great job on Under the Red Hood. So, yeah, with this opportunity with Stan Lee is a chance for me, because you guys know, I was a fan before I went to a galaxy far, far away. You know, I was coming to cons in the early 70s when most of you, I guess, weren't born. And that was the days when there would be like one basement, 6 dealers, and a 60mm projector to show Flash Gordon serials. It wasn't corporate sponsored. It certainly wasn't like this. But for me, a podcast is a way to stay directly in touch with you guys without having to answering, you know, mail piece by piece. And it's so much more useful than the current talk shows that are on television right now. There's nothing wrong with Letterman or Leno or any of those guys, but it's high pressure, they're in little bitty segments, and they're usually pushing a product of some sort. When you do podcasts, you have the leisure, it's a leisurely approach where you can really get into the nitty gritty like I did with Kevin.
So Mark,
yeah.
So you're doing a podcast, but you haven't chosen a name yet, and so people can tweet you.
I'd love them to tweet me at Hamill himself, just because, you know, who knows what they'll come.
All right, so you guys are gonna tweet him some names for his podcast. You can see he's very passionate about what he's doing. I want to open up the whole panel to talk just a little bit about some of the stuff that you saw here, because we actually do have some people here on the panel who created and produced some of this stuff. And I'll just kick it off by just giving you 30 seconds on Fan Wars, where I was recruited to be the judge. And the idea behind Fan Wars is actually having real fans come up and argue a point that they want to make, whether it's they believe that Superman is stronger than the Hulk, and then someone will make a counterpoint that the Hulk is stronger than Superman. And so it's done in a courtroom proceeding. It's not, the answer isn't scripted. We don't know. We have a celebrity judge panel that actually figures out who's made the best argument, with, of course, Stan Lee presiding ultimately on any sort of appeal. And that show's come out, and it's on World of Heroes now, so you might want to check that out.
I always want there to be a judge.
Yes. So moving sort of down the row, why don't you, was it Rapture Jesus?
Yeah.
Tell us a little, just give us 30 seconds on your show.
Well, my show is Superfans. Most of you may know I've done a lot of reality TV. I've probably spent the last 10 years of my life becoming an adult on it. And I wanted to bring reality to what my friends and I always do, be it getting ready for cons, collecting stuff, beating the crap out of each other to get to a toy first before it's sold out, and then your friend gets number one of 250 and you want him to die. So I wanted to find the biggest super fans, because my fandom is kind of all-encompassing. I don't focus on just one thing. I get around with my fandom, but I know people who pick out one thing, let's say X-Men, and everything in their house is X-Men. Like, I want to know about them, their lives, the people in their lives, how their collection started, where they'd like to go with it. And I had a blast, as you guys all got to see. I got to go to Rancho Obi-Wan. I touched the helmet Darth Vader wore in Empire, and then I licked my finger so it could forever be inside of me.
All right. So we're gonna jump over Peter David because he's working on narrative stuff. We're gonna get to that in a minute, and then we're gonna move over to America Young. Wow, there's a fan out there.
Hi guys. Thanks. I think he does.
So
I'm
what's
sitting here on this
going
panel.
on?
He must be. My show is Geek Therapy. My parents always wanted me to be a doctor, and so this was my compromise. I was working with Comediva, and we wanted to come up with something for Geek Week, and so we came up with the show because I work in stunts, that's how I pay my bills, and most of my stunt friends are starting to get into this world but don't quite know it yet, so they'll always come up to me and secretly ask me a question, I like the Avengers, was that okay? And yes, that was okay. So it started to become a thing where I felt like I was counseling them, and you would love Battlestar. You would ask, you need to watch Doctor Who, and so that's kind of where the idea came up with. I came up with Emily McGregor from Comediva. So that's what you saw up there, and so I'm really excited to be sharing this with the Stanley audience. It's the perfect place to have it.
Looking forward to it, Bonnie.
Yeah. I did a craft while we were doing the video stuff, so those in the back. There's glasses holding this up. I mean, I'm seriously crafting back here. So I'm doing a show called Geek DIY. You probably have known me from such puppet crafts as Admiral Sackbar. He was misused last night, so if you've never seen a hungover puppet, that's what a hungover puppet looks like. And so I'm used to doing like Star Wars crafts available at bookstores now. I'm used to doing Star Wars crafts, so I started doing all kinds of geeky crafts. So I brought in all the favors I had from all my friends. So you saw Grant Imahara from Mythbusters. I do what you might consider dangerous crafts, only dangerous because I'm the one holding the scissors. It's not like Mythbusters where we blow up stuff. We do have glitter fights. Ninjas used to fight like that. So it's kind of like Deadliest Warrior with glitter. And then I put googly eyes on everything. So we make everything from Ouija boards to puppets to I brought Will Wheaton in to make dice puppet or dice pillows. So Will Wheaton, I don't know, it's either Will or evil Will Wheaton. You'll have to tune in to find out. But it's like Martha Stewart got really geeky, and one of us did jail time. So,
All right.
So just tune in and get your restraining orders ready.
So let's get this straight. We've got podcasts, we've got investigative reporting on fans, we've got therapy, we've got courtroom drama, and we've got do-it-yourself stuff. And this is just all the fan section of World of Heroes. Let's move on to the narrative section. We've got a video to show you a little bit of something there. Can we roll that?